All right, cool. Welcome to my first real journey video. Okay, so how did I get into this? Well, I have shitty jobs. I've had really shitty jobs, like you just restaurants and crap. You don't make shit. They're not fun. It's nothing you're really passionate about at all. It just sucks. It's a shitty job. You don't want that job. So obviously you want to learn something new. So I've been in college for a while now, and I've learned a lot of things. I've tried out a lot of different career paths as far as studying. It's kind of hard to find something you really enjoy that you can actually make money from. So currently, I do audio and video work, just messing around with a lot of cables, and I also screw around with software. It's actually a lot of fun, and it pays pretty well. It can pay pretty really well, but I think the amount of jobs are a little bit less broad, or the spectrum of them. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I want to learn another skill. Why not? So here, I picked up coding. Um, I got into it because my friend that I used to work with at a restaurant is now living in Seattle, Washington, like downtown, and I'm living in Knoxville, Tennessee. Not that there's anything wrong with Knoxville, Tennessee. Great place. It's really expensive to live in Seattle. And I should also mention he works for Amazon. I kind of feel like doing it. It sounds like it could be fun. And kind of inspired. So I decided to pick it up. So that was my inspiration. I know these videos are shit. Structure and quality, really. Not even, like, I'm better than this. I know how to record with, like, I got dynamic microphone and I got condenser mics and everything. But the focus of this is that I'll be coding, not making fantastic videos. So, like, the audio quality in the video is just so poor. I felt like I had to say that. Maybe one day I'll set up a real camera, like at a real angle, do some real lighting, and hook up some real audio to do this right. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about Team Treehouse, which is the lesson plan that I started doing. I chose Swift because I wanted to write Apple or iPhone apps. The language that I learned all this. I learned all this. This is fantastic because I didn't know shit when I first started. Um, Apple released this code language called Swift, and they also have a thing called Xcode, which you write code in. Um, it was released in 2014. Let me fix my eyebrows. It was released in 2014, and it's super new. And relative to some other code languages like Java and JavaScript and C++, they're like 20, 30, 40 years old. Like pretty much since when computers first were invented and programming in general code, um, that's when these languages existed. Anyways, I chose Swift. It's very new, so and it's run by Apple, and it's a pretty big company. So the intro of the course is Swift Basics. Team Treehouse has a 21-hour lesson. It says 21 hours. It's basically 21 hours of videos and quizzes. For me, it took like 40 something hours, like, because I had to pause and go back and actually look at this stuff like 20 times. And I'm sure everyone does that. If not everybody, then a couple of them just fly through it. But yeah, so Swift Basics is where it starts. There's like, I think it's like, I don't know, I'm guessing here 9 parts. That shows you how underprepared I am, but I think it's like a 9-part beginner's tutorial thing. And it starts with basics, and you end up creating 2 apps by the end of it. 2 apps, and then they just added another lesson. It's kind of an intermediate lesson. So after you get out of the basics, you start learning intermediate stuff. So I guess you could write apps with all this basic crap, but you really want to learn intermediate language to write efficient app code. Anyway, so I'm gonna describe my experience with the basics. downloaded Xcode, and then you start learning how types, Swift types, like such as strings, string manipulations. So you learn what a variable is and what a constant is. I'm not going to explain those. Start teaching you how to add and subtract things in code and how to say things are equal to other things. Yeah, so that was the basics course, and then move on to they estimated that to be like 3 hours or maybe a little bit less. I don't know, that was the basics. It doesn't say anymore. Anyways, then you move on to this other one is Swift 3 collections and control flow. You learn collections such as arrays and dictionaries. You learn how to go through them with for in and while and repeat loops. And there's if and switch statements, which you use to navigate those arrays and dictionaries. Pretty cool stuff. It's super lame, but it's kind of interesting after you learn it. And then you move on to functions, which is kind of like a block of code that you write. You start a function, and then you write a bunch of code. It could have a bunch of constants in it, and dictionaries, and arrays, and loops, and some error stuff in there. But then it's all blocked together in a function. And yeah, the functions are really powerful. You learn about that. And then you move on to object-oriented Swift. Complex data structures, classes. You learn about inheritance, which is pretty sweet. It's like you have a class and it inherits from another class. Obviously, inheritance means what it means. Like, I'm sure you can deduce that on your own. Yeah, all this stuff is pretty complicated. I really don't. I mean, I understand it to an extent, but I'm really not amazing at writing any of this stuff. Okay, and then after that, you run into your first app that you get to build. Is build a simple iPhone app with Swift 3. This is when you first get to use the interface builder. So you actually get to play around with a simulator for an iPhone simulator. And you work with the model, and you can like add buttons, and there's some visual stuff. And this app changes the color. So I've already completed this one. It's a random word generator. You push a button, which actually is like, it sounds super easy. It probably is super easy after you keep going and learning more code. But then like when you first run into this, it was difficult as hell. Like, you're just like kind of going through the motion. I actually made the app twice. I made the app, and then I made a very similar app just to see if I could do it. I obviously had to use it as reference, which I don't think is a bad thing because I'll probably always have my material to refer to. And I don't know, it's a cool experience. You push a button, and it put a random word on the screen, and it changed the color of the background, and it changed like the color of the words. That's what it did. And okay. After this, build a simple iPhone app. You learn about enumerations and optionals. Optionals is for setting nil values, and enumerations is kind of like dictionaries and arrays, only safer for code. So you like this simple iPhone app would actually be better if you wrote it in enumerations instead of a dictionary. I could explain it. I'm not going to. All right. Then you learn about protocols. Man, I hate protocols. All right, not gonna lie, I'm definitely gonna have to go back and study protocols again. Barely could tell you what they do. I could BS some stuff, but I'm not gonna even try. Okay, then you learn about error handling. It's the next thing. You learn how to throw functions. So you got to throw functions into errors. It's necessary, and it's a good skill to have. So I'm telling you, this structure is great. And then build a vending machine app. This is the next app you get to build. This is where I'm at right now. it actually uses a lot of error handling, and it uses everything you've learned already and more, like way more. So as you're going through it, the guy is telling you like, oh, I'm just gonna write this magic code. Can't really get into it because it's a rabbit hole and you'll just never come out. So we're just write it in and just keep going and just focus on what you know. That's what I've been doing, at least. Trying to pick up on some of it. You pick up a little bit on when he does describe it. It's a good lesson. Highly recommend it. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm writing this weather app. So I'll probably start a new video. It'll be my next one. I'll start tomorrow, probably, if not the next day. It'll be telling you it'll be really in depth about where I'm at in this weather, or no, it's not a weather app. It's I might have said weather app. It's a vending machine app. I'm almost done with it. So I'm at the point where I'm about to finish it. If I really try super hard, I can finish it in a couple of days. If I try super hard, I can finish it one day. If I tried fairly hard and ignored all my other responsibilities, I would finish it in 2 days. Yeah. And then if I just do it at a chill pace and just kind of like, focus more on my other responsibilities and do some other things like make videos and make music or whatever, it'll take like 3 days, 4 days if I'm pushing it. That's about what the length is. Anyways, I'll get into it whenever I do. It'll be my next video. And I hope to see any of there. If anybody has anything to say, that would be awesome. You could... Yeah, I don't know. I really don't expect a lot of attention at all from any of these videos. Probably like ever. Because it's not really a popular subject at all. That's not really the purpose of this video. But, okay. You're awesome. See ya.